Hey, yo, what it do, man? It's your boy, Hollywood Mike T, aka Mike T, aka, hold on, Champ T, aka Coach Drip. The drip is of the drip. And you already know what time it is. Episode 115, D Man Cave Sports Podcast. Drop that beat.
On the keys on this shit now.
Your boy Mike T, aka Coach Drip, and I'm here with my guys. This is the Man Cave Sports Podcast, and yeah, man, y'all see we got two people on the screen. But before I get to them, y'all probably know them. Urso done been on here 76 times, so you know him. Jae Jones, Wild Card Ma, how y'all doing today, man?
Hey man, cooler than a polar bear's toenails, man. Loving life. Football's back, so hype.
Enough said. Football is back. Hey, it's all good, baby. Temperature's dropping.
I didn't even have to ask you, man. I didn't even have to ask you. But the two other people I alluded to are from the Montgomery Blair High School. I got Coach Joe Urso and Sam. And Coach Sam, can you please tell me how to pronounce the last name? Because I know I'll be jacking it up.
It's Nosoff.
Nosoff, gotcha.
Yep.
And Coach Sam, head coach Sam Nosoff, and offensive coordinator Coach Joe Urso. Hey, welcome back to the show, you guys. Welcome back to the show. It seems like when we open the season, we get one of y'all on the show. I think the year before, the first year, we had Coach Sam on the show, and then the second year we had Coach Urso on the show right before the season started. So it's dope. Welcome back, fellas. We got our draft going on right now. I just want to say to G Money, we see you.
It's on site, bro.
It's on site, brother.
On site.
Live so that other people can see. This show actually will air Friday before the season starts because why would we interview them in the season? The game already happened Friday. So we're interviewing them before then. Wildcard Mar, I'm going to let you jump off with the questions for the two coaches.
Of course. Man, Coach Nosoff, man, it's always, a challenge to get your team on the same page, man. What are some of the challenges that you had to incur to get your team prepared for another season, man?
Every year is a little bit different. This group that we have, especially on the varsity level, a lot of them bring some experience from last year. We had a lot of sophomore starters last year, so it's the challenge has been making them even better as now juniors and then meshing them in with the mixture of seniors. I mean, we do have a large senior class. But to be honest with you, the biggest challenge we've had is this was one of our lighter years going into camp in terms of overall numbers. And talking with some other head coaches around the county, they kind of felt the same thing. I don't know if it was just a mixture of the rising freshman class took a little bit longer to get joined in. Now our numbers have gone up as school started, but the challenge has been numbers for us, just making sure we have enough to get JV scout teams out there and varsity scout teams out there. We hit a little bit of an injury bug, but we're on the mend from that. So things are getting better, but it was tough at the beginning.
No doubt. Now, Coach Urso, this question's for you. Obviously, you guys got a new quarterback at the helm. How you anticipating your quarterback's going to do this year? And if you don't mind dropping his name so that we all can get familiar with him too.
Sure. So Dylan Rinaldi is slated to be our starter this year. Really excited about him. Excited about his potential. Super smart kid, hard worker. He was the backup last year, started for us on JV 2 years ago, which was actually his first year ever playing organized football. So one of the nice things for me as a quarterback coach was I got him with no bad habits, no nothing. I was able to kind of mold him as I saw fit. And, to his credit, he took what I gave him and he grinded his butt off to get himself where he is. But thus far throughout the off season, he's been very efficient, smart with the ball, which is what we ask for. We've got a lot of talent at the skill positions, and his job is going to be to distribute and get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. And thus far, he's done that. And we look forward to him doing that all year.
Nice. Follow-up question on that. Is it? Do you find it easier to kind of mold a quarterback that's kind of almost a blank sheet than a guy that's kind of thinks he knows it all a little bit?
I mean, it can vary. I mean, there are definitely benefits to having a guy that has played the position before and has some experience because, you're not starting from square one. But it just depends on the habits that they have. If they had some bad habits or like you said, think they know everything, then yeah, that can be a hurdle. Dylan was a nice mixture of, he was very hungry to learn, had a natural talent for throwing the ball, and he enjoys the cerebral aspect of the game, which is fun to play with as a coach because it allows us to do, some interesting things.
Nice. Dig it.
Jay, go ahead, jump in here, man.
So we've seen the emergence of 7-versus-7 football, and the off season, you guys were playing. You guys were scrimmaging 7-versus-7. How did that 7v7 help your team get ready for this season?
Coach Urso and I we could sit in an office and argue about 7-on-7 all day, every day. I'm a lineman. 7-on-7 just doesn't do it for me. I appreciate it. The kids like it. The uniforms, we spend a lot of time, probably more than we probably should, just trying to figure out what uniform combination we want to go with for the summer. So in that aspect, it is good. I do see the value, especially when we have quarterbacks who are developing. The timing is important. Getting some game reps at the, what combinations are going to work. I let Coach Urso experiment. This will be the first year where Coach Urso is calling the plays full time. But even when I was calling the plays the last couple of years, 7-on-7 was the what bag of tricks can Coach Urso come up with, and we'd experiment, and then we'd take 2 or 3 of the ones that worked the best over the summer and add them in. But there is that little bit of me where it's hard to sit there and say, well, it is a perfect scenario. You got 4 seconds, no one's rushing you. But I've learned to appreciate the value. I'll still take real football any day of the week, though.
Yeah, no, coach, he calls it like underwear football or underwear Olympics. Hey, but listen, to his point, he's not wrong, and like I've told you guys, it is a totally different game.
Right.
All encompassed. It is a different game, but it does, some of the things translate, some of the things do help. His favorite aspect is the uniforms. Don't let him fool you. He is a uniform junkie. He's, like another Coach Drip in that sense. We debate and go back and forth about uniforms, and him more so than me, but he really took the lead on designing our uniforms for this upcoming season, the actual football season. But he loves uniforms, so that is his favorite aspect of 7-on-7.
Okay. And coming into this season, just how important is it for you guys to get off to a fast start, like a quick start?
Well, our schedule is essentially broken up into 2 parts. The first 4 weeks and the last 5 weeks. The first 4 weeks being our game tomorrow night, Seneca, Kennedy, and Einstein. We could easily hang with all 4. We could easily win all 4. We could easily be a 1-3, 2-2. I mean, anything could happen in the first 4 weeks. the back half of our schedule, the back five, is kind of like running the Montgomery County Gauntlet purposely. We've built the strongest schedule we could. The county and the state says that everyone's going to make the playoffs, so it doesn't necessarily it doesn't really matter what the record is at the end of the season. Everyone's got a shot. It certainly would help for seeding purposes and the reseeding process if we had a great record at the end of the season. But as we kind of proved last year, we had an easy first round game simply based upon how traveled we were versus Laurel. And then the second game against WJ in a rematch with them, I felt like the first half of that game was probably our best of the entire season. We could have flipped the script on them in that, and then you're looking at a 2-7 regular season team advancing to the third round of the playoffs. So we have to start well. We have to have a good first 4 weeks. Otherwise, we're behind the 8 ball for the rest of the season.
So I wanted to talk more about that because I've been thinking about that, and I've talked to alumni of Blair about that, about the schedule. And I wanted to get you to give your opinion because I can give, if you like, from the alumni perspective. Would you like me to give you some of the alumni perspective? They wonder why we don't play the other teams. That, I guess I don't want to disrespect anybody, but the teams, I guess, they know that Blair could beat. The tougher schedule, they wonder why the tougher schedule. My retort to them is because I understand that you've explained it to us before, but my also retort to it is if you look around at the commits, Blair is second with the same record they had last year. So it's a method to the coaching staff, I guess, but I'll let you explain it yourself.
We could go both ways. We had an incredibly talented team 2 years ago and 3 years ago. And we saw that last year there was opportunity for us to continue that kind of run. But the saying of if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. At the end of the day, no matter what your regular season record is in the 4A, everyone is going to have to go through a QO, a Northwest, a Flowers, a Wise, a Broadneck, a Paint Branch any given year, a Churchill, they're back on the rye. One of those powerhouses is going to be standing in your way. And if you haven't played anybody like them, you have no idea how to play against them. The first year when we played Wise and we traveled there, it was just such a totally different game than what we had played during the regular season. They were faster, they were bigger. It was just the fluidity of the game. We didn't know what we didn't know walking into that game. The next year, while the result didn't feel very positive internally, I thought we played better. We knew what it looked like. So then we thought to ourselves, how do we ensure that when we get to the playoffs, nobody is too difficult for us? Well, if we're going to have to play a QO to get to the Navy Memorial Stadium, let's see what we can do in the regular season against them. If we're going to have to play Wise at Wise, can we hang with a team like that? So, we also don't get a choice in certain things. Our division has certainly gotten more difficult with BCC and WJ now being in the division. We have to play them. But I figured the games that we had the choice on, I'd rather play tougher competition. I'd rather put our guys up against tougher competition. And the recruiting aspect is big too. The coaches come in and they know certain schools. So when they hear that we played certain schools and then they see the highlights against certain schools, it resonates more than this game was 42-7 in the third quarter and here's a catch.
Gotcha. Got you. Got
Coach, you on the clock too. You got 53. Oh, no. Go ahead.
Don't
You
worry,
trying to help you out.
We good.
I got you.
I was trying to help you out, Coach.
Yeah, I'll
He
take
trying
the
to set you
questions
up.
until Coach Sam can make his pick.
Don't worry. Jameer Gibbs already got him.
Oh
Okay.
man, that was my see. All right, we're gonna be going head to head this season too. Coach Urso, so
Yes, sir.
could you explain for the people that don't know your play calling style or your play style period? Could you explain to them like your play style and your offensive creativeness, pretty much?
No, because it's a secret. No. No, I mean honestly, I'm still learning what that is. This is my first year as a full-time offensive coordinator. Sam came to me kind of at the start of the off season and explained his thought process, and him and I are pretty aligned on a lot of things offensively, and I think that's why he felt comfortable to hand me the keys, so to speak, to the offense. And as I told him, and I'll explain to anybody, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. The offense that we have, we're not switching up something because we're not successful. You know, my goal this offseason was to look at what we did really well, and let's emphasize that. The stuff that we struggled with, I had to look at through two lenses. One, is it something that we can get better at, or is it something we're just not set up for? And then I had some of my own little flavor that I wanted to add to it. But if I had to give you a brief synopsis, it would just be, we want to attack. We're going to be multiple, and we're going to give you a lot of things to prepare for.
Nice. Coach Urso, I just want to ask you this. What are some of the skill players that you kind of mentioned before, and you can definitely drop some names if you want to, that you're excited to see this year?
Sure. No, I mean, we've got a lot of guys that I'm very excited to see. So 3 returning starters at receiver, EJ Boyd, Miles Hassel, and Jaden Parker. The Miles and EJ are both seniors. Jaden is going to be a junior this year. He started for us last year as a sophomore. All 3 of them are a threat with the ball in their hand, whether it's on a quick screen, whether it's down the field. All 3 accomplished route runners. Dylan has a lot of trust in all 3 of them. We've got a new 4th receiver out there starting on the outside, which is Jay Javier Mendoza. He's got a lot of speed, super hungry kid, works his butt off. And in the backfield, we are, knock on wood, I'll say we're very loaded. Junior Rodriguez coming back for his junior year after a stellar sophomore campaign, starting most of the time on varsity as a sophomore, which is, I'm not going to say unheard of, but it's rare at the 4A varsity level. Then Junio Medina coming back off injury, again, also a junior. And then Lucas Copeland, who was a sophomore, was our starting running back on JV last year. All 3 of them are threats. Excuse me, threats to run the ball at any time. And, I'd like to think it makes us difficult to prepare for, because we could have 1 or 2 or who knows how many of them in the backfield at the time. We've also
Coach Urso is going to be like Bill Belichick. You're never going to know which running back to start.
There you go. Yeah, you would hate me if you had one of my running backs on fantasy.
Yeah, you just put them all on the flex.
Yeah. We've also got a kind of a H-back position that Trey Royal is going to fill for us. That versatile player, can block, can run, can catch. Smart guy. He's been a leader for us. One of our captains. And obviously Dylan offensively. I'll let Coach speak to the defense, but we're excited, man.
Yeah. And speaking of defense, and I'm glad you kind of segue to that. So, Coach Nosoff, I'm a defensive guy. When I play, I like to hit guys. It's cute to get the touchdown, do your little celebration and dance, but it nothing beats better than when you hit a guy and you hit a win, like just empty his body. So, talk about your defense and how excited you are about the defensive side of the ball.
So now that Coach Urso is calling the offense, I've had a little bit more time. So I spent a little bit more time this offseason as an offensive player almost my entire high school and college career, and then calling the offense. I've pretty much been offense. So this offseason, I spent a little bit more time sitting in some defensive meetings, just trying to get a general idea of the method to the madness is and things like that. You know, a lot of the same guys on offense for us are going to have just as big of an impact on defense. You know, junior at middle linebacker, he had almost 90 tackles last year as a sophomore, so we're expecting some more big things from him as a junior and kind of leading that defense. EJ and Miles are kind of versatile DBs. They're going to be everywhere on the field, in the box, out of the box. EJ has the ability to kind of cover the entire field back there. We'll have a mixture of different linebackers that are going to come in depending on situations. Our defensive line is going to be something that we focus on a little bit this year. That group has the ability to make some waves, and you combine them with the 3 or 4 that'll be behind them. You know, I think our defense is going to keep us in some games and give us the ability to do the things we want to do on offense and potentially be a little aggressive. Going into each game, I'm always sitting there and thinking like, all right, at what point do we know that even if we don't get this 4th down, or if we don't get what we need, can I be aggressive knowing that the defense is going to cover it for us? And the last couple of years, I've been able to be pretty aggressive. So I'm hopeful that we're able to do that again. Hopefully tomorrow night we prove that, and that just keeps rolling.
Nice.
I've gotten to see some things. I think Jay as well got to see some things going to practices and things of that nature. I wanted you guys to talk a little bit about the difference. Well, you've already talked about the difference between the teams last year and this year, but how can I put it? What I'm trying to ask, I guess the mental part of it, though. I guess the swagger, because I see a swagger this year that I kind of didn't see last year. I saw a different type of swagger last year. This year, I feel this ain't last year. Is it like, even with the coaches, do you guys kind of feel that way?
I think it's confidence. It's the group from last year that we now, there's more experience. We did lose impactful seniors, and you know, they've left a legacy that started years before them and has been carried through. And I think we have the right mixture, which gives us confidence. And we sit in the coach's office, and the coaches, we've stayed the same too. This will be essentially year 3 where the core of the coaching staff is the same. And it's year 2 of essentially having the exact same coaching staff, which with that just comes a familiarity with each other. We could go a couple of months in the off season without really seeing each other regularly. And then we sit down there for the first meeting and the jokes are flying and the conversation started, and we're already debating X's and O's like we never left. And that breeds itself onto the field where we have those inside. It's like with the kids all have inside jokes and they all have the conversations with each other. The coaches have the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You know, I totally agree with Coach. It's confidence, and confidence breeds swagger. And it's because all these guys that are juniors and seniors now were sophomores and juniors with us on varsity last year. They didn't know what they were walking into. Now they've got a year of varsity football under their belt. They feel more comfortable. You know, we've had some success in these scrimmages, which I think adds to that feeling of swagger. And yeah, I mean, Coach hit it on the head.
Got you. I wanted to get into some fun stuff. The drift. Now I know the cat's out the bag. Who is really the uniform guru? My man.
It was a team effort, but Sam came to the table. We kind of molded it together, and then he made the final finishing touches.
Got you. Either way, I still like that what you said earlier because I had no idea. I just knew he was with it. I thought he was with it because the kids were with it. But being a big guy yourself and me being a big guy, how is it when you vision the uniforms? Like, what? How do you visual? How? I guess this is the both of y'all. How do you visualize it? Do you visualize something that you guys would like? I wouldn't wear that.
I mean, I'm an Oregon fan.
I know. I
So
put you on Maryland Tech. That's
as
your
the
fight.
resident too many jersey options guy, it's always been that's what got me to watch them when I was in high school, and that's what's kept me watching them. And then the players have followed suit. So when it comes to uniforms, sometimes I think it does get taken too far, but I enjoy that process. Originally graduating with a marketing degree, also, so it kind of aligns with those things. The concepts, I I almost just either have an idea or an epiphany, or I see something. That the helmet with the trident going down the middle. I'd love to say that I concepted that out of thin air, but I just happened to see some school in Arizona, a high school in Arizona that had something similar to it. And it just kind of sparked the interest. And then I had some people who are a little bit more well versed in design mock it up just to see what it would look like. The uniforms we have now, I've been fortunate that in the 6 years that I've been the head coach, our Rydell rep Eddie, he's been great. Whenever he comes in at the end of the season, he always catches me up on all the internal stuff because he visits all the schools. Brought in some samples. I saw a couple of things I liked, and then really between Coach Urso and I, we're just off to Google. It's every team that we could possibly think of that wears anything red, black, white. We're looking at royal blues. I was looking at, as much as the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore, so I don't have to worry about it. I was looking at Arizona stuff. I was looking at, Jackson, like it's like Jackson State, not Jacksonville State, but Jackson State, stuff like that. So we find little details that we like and we say, could it work? I'm big on just simple. So we tried to go, how much can we add without making it too busy? And probably 5 to 6 different variations came out from it. And then we narrowed it down to the ones that we liked the most, and we went with it.
I'm still committed. So when we get the bag, y'all getting turquoise helmets. Turquoise isn't the Blair color. So what?
So what?
so what? Urso, you too. I mean, even with, we're not talking about Dime U, but the Dime U uniforms were pretty lit.
Yeah, no, I mean it. Like Coach said, I always have a little bit of creativity to me, and not being. I keep saying not being far removed from a player, but every time I say that, it's another year later. So I think I'm like 7 years now removed from being a player, or no, 6 years. But yeah, I envision like what would I want to wear. I look at it as, is this something I would want to rock myself?
Gotcha.
And thankfully, Sam and I are kind of aligned again in the sense that less is more when it comes to uniforms in my mind. Like I don't need 8,000 things going on there. What I'm big on are the little small details that make it pop, like us having the little trident on the hip, the little Blazer logo right on the V of the neck. Like that's the stuff to me that's like, that sets it apart and makes it not just a stock jersey that somebody got, for a normal high school team. And I think the kids appreciate that stuff too. I mean, we went with the tackle twill, so everything is stitched. Nothing sublimated. The only sublimated stuff we have is for our black uniforms, and those are kind of our alternates. But even the blazers and the trident on the pants are all stitched. So it's a quality thing that I like, and I think the kids feel good putting them on. They get excited about it. Yeah, it's fun, man.
Okay, so last drip question for me. I know. Well, can you guys explain how you pick your combinations, and I have a follow up for that.
What do you mean, like as far as what we ordered new?
No, what you guys wear week to week, because you guys, I mean, we made
Oh,
you
that's
Coach
up to the captains.
Yeah.
Okay.
We I leave that up to our captains. So our 4 captains this year, Dylan, Trey, EJ, and Junior, they get the first choice of what they would like to wear. Depends on the captains group. Some captains group will take heavy investment on what the team wants. Some captains groups we've had in the past where they basically say, this is what we're wearing. And then they run it by us, and they had a suggestion for tomorrow night, and we altered their suggestion for tomorrow night just based on the student section. The student section's wearing all white, so we are too, for tomorrow night. So they originally wanted to wear one of the colored option pants. So we ultimately, it's captain's choice, but I've vetoed a few in the past.
Okay, so that's what my follow up question was going to be. With the new set for both of you, this is your chance to influence. Which set are you guys looking forward to seeing?
That's tough. That is
I know
tough,
one that I didn't see that I want to see. I know one that I didn't see that I want to see, but I'll let you guys go first.
That's tough, man. I honestly I don't know that I could just choose one.
Choose whatever you want.
Huh?
Choose
No, I know, but then I'm gonna say all of them. But
okay.
That's a cop out.
True.
I really like the white with the gray pants. I think it's tough. The gray pants are going to be a game changer for us. I don't know why. It gives more of a professionally kind of look, because like most high school teams are either white pants or some kind of base color, red, white, blue pants. Gray is like you see that on college teams, you see that on pro teams. So the gray is going to be a game changer. So the white with the gray is tough. The red with the gray is super tough. And the white tops with the black pants, I think, came off really nice, because the black pants with the black helmet kind of just sets it off nicely.
That's gonna be fire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm most interested to see what the gray pants will look like once we get under the lights. I just want to see. I want to see how it would flow if we were wearing the red uniform. I'd like to see. I'd like to see it with the black uniform just to see how that would look as well, because we're kind of meshing 2 different generations of uniform in that. But I just like that we have options. I'm always big on, you play the NCAAs and the Maddens, and you play with a team that only has just the standard uniform combinations, and you're like, all right, so when do I get to use something fun? So I think the kids appreciate that we have options. I like that we have options. It's a good color set to have because we have so many options. So I just want to see them all under the lights. We've got Blair script on the side of the helmet too, so I want to see how that pops under the lights with the uniforms tomorrow. This might be the first year where I'm really excited to wear all white as well. There's just something about the all white that I think looks cleaner with the blazers on the side of the pants rather than just being a blank white pant. So I like new things, so I'm excited to see them all.
That's right. I forgot the pants were just blank white. I got you. Go ahead, walk on my jump in.
Yeah. So obviously, we like the drip, and that matters. What about celebrations? I got to get you guys' opinion on, do you let your team kind of celebrate a little bit, just as long as they don't go over the line, or do you let them kind of beat themselves, or do you like, hey, hand the ball to the ref, come on back? How do y'all regulate this
question?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I mean, a lot of it's rules based. high school doesn't allow you to do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically you get in the end zone, you can, jump up and hip bump somebody, but that's essentially it. You can't sit there and do a dance and spin the ball and all that. All that stuff's 15-yard instantly.
Really?
Yeah. So we encourage them to celebrate on the sidelines, with their teammates and everything. We don't want it. I mean, I don't want to speak for Sam, but we're not so old school that it's score, hand it to the ref, walk off like you've done it 100 times. Enjoy it, but they're more limited by the rules than they are by us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's you talking about 7-on-7. 7-on-7 has made the celebration game completely different too. It's been getting more and more difficult to keep the kids in that old school mindset of celebrations. Sometimes it's difficult to get them to see that they can't celebrate after every score or every big play. So it's a fine line. I've been trying to be a little bit more lenient with the getting exciting and celebrating as long as that's within reason, and they're not getting them to a point where if we do too much, the sideline penalties start to cost us. We just don't want to give another team the game because we celebrated a score that shouldn't be the only one of the game for us. It should just be another one of the games for us.
Got you.
What,
Now go
what
ahead.
about sportsmanship? I know last year throughout the season we seen some things get a little rocky. What's you guys take on sportsmanship in high school football?
Yeah, I'm big in the karma game. The kind of what goes around comes around side of things. I believe that if you do too much, you never know when you're going to be in a position where you're going to need that other team. We still are in a world where I may have to reach out to another coach to ask for certain film, or I may have to reach out to another coach for a favor, or we need an extra helmet and they have the size we need. And, I wouldn't blame another coach if we were acting in a way that kind of goes against the values of the program and the school. I wouldn't blame another coach if they said no. So I totally understand getting hype and wanting to, talk some smack or be involved and, doing some of the extra stuff, but there is a line. And ultimately that line has to be when it starts to become disrespectful, or it could eventually come back to bite us later on. That's when it's got to be stopped. We will pull kids off the field if we feel that coming. We try to get that just kind of curbed early. That way we don't have to deal with it.
Right.
But our kids have done a pretty good job of not being involved in those things so far. So hopefully that keeps going through the season.
Word. I just got one last question, and I'm curious to hear both you guys' answer on this. What are some of the ways that you try to get the players to recognize that last year or previous years is not this year, and keep them focused on the main goal of this upcoming season?
I mean, I think they do part of that themselves. A lot of them, going into it like this year isn't last year. We're different, so we try to encourage that aspect. But yeah, I mean, we do reference last season in certain things, but only as an example of not necessarily what not to do, but what can happen if you take your eye off the ball for a moment. If you think that the guys we had 3 and 4 years ago were going to walk through the door and save the day, but I think the guys kind of do that themselves. They want to make their own mark. They want to leave their own legacy on this program, as every graduating class does. So, yeah, I mean, I would say they've kind of taken the bull by the horns on that one.
Nice. Coach Nosoff.
Yeah, I mean our guys, they kind of they know what's come before them. They've seen the type of athlete that's been in the program before them. We've had numerous guys that have gone Division I in something. Mikhail has been probably one of the biggest influences that we've had over the course of these last 4 years that he's been in the program, and the legacy that he's left. We still have some guys that they almost would do the right thing simply so that when they talk to him next, they could say that, I did it based upon the leadership that he had. And there were some more before him, even, in my first couple of years. So it really does come down to the kids, especially after last season, because I think last season we were caught in we had 2 really good seasons, and I think we expected that we could continue that without a lot of effort, and we were humbled a little bit last year. So this year the mindset is completely different because it has to be, and they recognize that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll just add one more thing I thought of while Coach was talking. These kids take ownership of their individual years. Give you a little behind the scenes stuff. We were in study hall the other day, and the kids had finished their work. We had a little time to burn, and they were comparing whose JV team was better when they were on JV. So I pulled up film of one of the older groups JV team to compare to to the current freshmen and sophomores. So they take pride in their year. So I think they do that as each class comes through.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Speaking of this year, your week 1 opponents. That's well, as of today. Well, actually, it comes out today. So later on today, you'll see this. Your week 1 opponents. It's a big. I guess you could call this a rivalry in the DCC or DCC matchup. With them and the rest of your schedule, what do you see? What do you guys see like this? Not the ceiling, but your expectations for this season. But first, starting with tomorrow.
Well, I mean, the first game of the season is always an interesting one because we're basing a lot of things on scrimmage film, and scrimmage film doesn't always tell the exact tale of what a team can, can't, and might do. There's been times in our scrimmages where we've done things that it might not be one of our core values as an offense or a defense, but we've wanted to see what it looks like. So how much stock can you put into every scrimmage film? That's always difficult. So week 1 just becomes challenging. There's no tendencies yet. There's no, there's nothing for us to really base it on. Coach Howell, he was Einstein's AD for essentially most of the time that I've been the head coach here at Blair. But I guess our paths did cross in the coaching realm. My first 1 or 2 years when I was coaching under Coach Fields, when he was a coach at Einstein. So how much of what he did at Einstein in a previous coaching generation did he bring over with him? So we don't know a lot just yet. And hopefully the things that we're predicting and we're reading based upon what we have seen do come true for us. But week 1's always tough. I wouldn't necessarily classify it as a rivalry game just yet, but I think that, Coach Howell has, based on our conversations over the summer, as long as, and I've said this pretty much every time a new coach joins one of the DCC schools, as long as someone is willing to stay there over the course of 4 or 5 plus years, any DCC school could become a team that can have rivalries with anyone else. It's the constant changeover that oftentimes hurts some of the DCC schools. You lose 5, 6 to 10 kids in the cracks of a new coach to a new coach to a new coach to a new coach. When there's continuity, there's always the ability for that to become something. And I think that's what kind of built up the rivalry we had with Einstein. Sean and I going in as head coaches at the same exact time, he stuck it out, a similar amount of time, and we built programs that could match each other. I think with Kennedy and Northwood, those two schools could do the same if Brown and McRae are going to do the same thing, and Howell has that opportunity as well. I'm hoping. I will always say that the DCC deserves good football at all 5 schools. And I hate the conversation of we might as well just combine them and make one DCC team. That drives me nuts. I'd rather all 5 schools be a rival. Like let's make it serious. As for the rest of the season, a lot gets told in week 1. Where are we? Who are we? Do we make a statement? Do we struggle? Do we come out and do the things that we've learned in camp, or do we need to make some changes right off the bat? We'll have to wait and see what the result is. I think the first 4 weeks are winnable for us. I'm not going to say they're guaranteed, but they are winnable games. I think in the last 5 weeks, depending on how the first 4 weeks go, there are some opportunities for us. Can the kids take advantage? Let's see. The big thing for us is we have a weekly goal every week. We may not win the game, but if we accomplish the goal that we have set as a program, that's a win for us internally. And not every goal was based upon a score or a win or record. It's based on things we want to accomplish as a program.
Okay.
You
I'm just
want-
saying, I'm looking forward because hey, if I come to Kansas City, y'all stick up. I'm kidding. No, I'm very looking forward to you guys do your thing this year, especially from afar, being admiring what y'all been doing for real, as not only as head coaches but as leader of young men. So I think it's dope.
Facts, definitely.
Jay, you got anything?
Nah, man, I was going to end on that last question you asked. So
I want to ask you a question.
What's
What
up?
game are you looking forward to?
This week or just on Blair's schedule? On Blair's schedule?
Schedule.
Of course, I'm looking forward to the Einstein game.
All right, now that's
of course.
All right, yes, this has been another great episode of the man.
But can I say BCC too? I want to see them go against BCC or
They're playing BCC scheduled Blair for homecoming.
Ooh.
Hey,
what's the date of that? I might book the tickets for that one.
That is we covering that game too. So
that's going to be week 6 for us.
Yes. So that we got that on the schedule already. So okay. All right. Those are 2 good ones. Walk on Mar, I guess. Let me get your.
Oh well, I mean, those are the 2, BCC and Einstein. So either one, I'm booking plane tickets to come out to see one of them things. So it's going down. So
I'm interested in seeing tomorrow. I'm interested in seeing, of course, against J&M. I'm interested in seeing Blair against Blake as well. Hey, I'm sending you there. You want to sign it to that one? Matter of fact, we might. You know what? G, we should send you. That's who we should send because you. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I'm sorry, Coach. Next year there will not be a problem because I can't draft. I know my rosters. I know y'all looking at me like, what is he doing? Because I don't know what I'm doing right now.
I told myself this year I wasn't going to go running back heavy, and then I picked 3 running backs right away. So.
But Coach, I just wanted to say, yeah, I was going to bring it on Friday, but I didn't know how you was going to feel. So I'm like, no, and it's heavy. So
Hey,
Nah.
you know, the belt, you earned it, you won it. You know, I think we're all gunning for it, man. It's hard to repeat.
yeah, hey, listen,
Hey, Coach Nosoff, I got much respect for you, but you kicked my derriere 2 times last year. I'm like, yo, I can't with this dude. I'm like, I'm showing him love and support from long distance. He got the nerves to just body me on the fantasy like this. I was like, man, I can't, dog.
hey man, this has been another episode of the Man Cave Sports Podcast, man. We got two of Blair's great coaching staff here. We wish them a great season.
Yeah,
doubt.
Hope everything goes well with them this season. Thank y'all for everything y'all do for us as well. Because behind the
Yes.
scenes, people don't know. I'm just gonna say they look out for us, so we're thankful for that. Tell them how they can find y'all on social media.
You can find me. I'm at Coach_Nosoff. And then you can also find our Instagram page, which is at BlairFB.
Okay.
For me would be joe.urso. That's URSO 10 on Instagram, or DimeUQB training on Instagram. I don't even remember what my Twitter is right now, but I don't use that one that much.
I think it's Coach Urso.
That
Yeah.
probably that works. You type in Urso, there's not gonna be that many things that pop up.
Right. Jae Jones, where can they find you, brother?
Man, Jae Jones on all 5 social media platforms.
Got you. Wildcard Mar.
Hey, man, just go to the Twitter, KC Wildcard Mar. And, of course, doing my thing with my fellas here.
Yes, sir. And you can find me, Mike T304 on Twitter, Coach Drip 304 on Instagram, Michael Turner on Facebook, and all 613 platforms, Google, Spotify, what is that? What else are we on? Apple and YouTube as well. So if you catch us this today, we will be at the game, and then on Sunday, Moco Center, 10 a.m. each and every Sunday. Moco Center, where we're going to be giving you highlights, the concession stand trek up, the drippies, and a whole bunch of more. Probably some interviews later on. But yeah, man. Thank y'all. And Jae Jones, tell them, man, what they got to do.
Shut the door, y'all. Time to go.
Beep, 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 beep.